Hey y'all, it's Coach K. And look, welcome to the Coach's Corner. Yep, welcome in on this rainy Tuesday. A rainy Tuesday, rainy morning in Alabama. So good to see your face in the place today. I know that you all will be coming in. And I'm going to go ahead and set up TikTok because this is going to be a little bit different as I kind of talk about why you aren't going on very many dates and what's blocking love and why is a possibility. Certainly there are exceptions, certainly, but listen, there are some general things that we can say that we know that are going on when you talk about how to get more dates. I know it's rainy out there. I know you all are preparing to go to work, but some of you will catch the replay on this. And by the way, it is election day, so I want to encourage you to get out and go vote. Okay, it is election day, so I want to encourage you to get out and go vote today, even though it's rainy. Your employers, for those of you who have to work, your employers will give you time to go and vote, right? This is one of those times, y'all. I absolutely loved every moment that I had, every opportunity that I had to be a bona fide employee in the marketplace. But this is also one of those times where it's like you appreciate, not having to get out there. But, it's kind of sneaky. But remember, in all the coverage that we've had recently, we've shown you that Governor Kay Ivey set up this special election. So, as much as you can possibly, yeah, there we go. My volume is okay. As much as you can, we want to encourage you to get out and exercise your right to vote. All right. The polls open and are open now, and they're open until 7 p.m. Tonight. So, is it an inconvenience? Yes. But have we and are we able to see the result of our uh, lax attitude in the marketplace right now? I believe so. I believe it's very apparent. I believe it's very apparent that something has to give, friends. Something has to change. And for those of you who are joining me, I want to make sure that I acknowledge you. I want to make sure that I say good morning. So if you're on this morning, would love to say hello, would love to speak and all that stuff. I went into my studio, which is a sort of reusable studio, so I could kind of get up and get moving faster. It's an older studio, so there are some features that are just not available that would have been available before. But anyway, y'all, we're getting ready to take off on how to get more dates. Um, and this may be unpopular, what I share this morning. It may be unpopular. This may be unpopular as we talk about how to get more dates because this is something that social media. Okay, sorry about that, y'all. It's unpopular, but however, it's something that we likely really need to hear. Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to title this doggone thing. I'm here on TikTok. How do I title it? Okay, TikTok. Um, Can I title it A Major Sign of a Narcissist? No, that's not the title. The title is How to Get More Dates. How about that? Here we go. So here's what we don't ever ask you for anything like money or anything like that. But here's what you do, and here's how you can help us. Okay. You can help us by sharing. You can help us by commenting on our material, and you can help us by liking our material and following along. That's how you support us. That's how you help us. And that's how you um, help us to continue to spread this content. All right. So, how to get more dates? Or maybe a better way of saying it, let me type this in because, sometimes we don't like the truth. And good morning to all my folks on TikTok. Let me put my glasses on. Good morning, TikTok. Good morning. let me ask it another way, because sometimes it's really really tough to kind of, oh, there's show the comments here, yay. Okay, I do have some of my updates. So let me ask it another way, because sometimes, let's see, why aren't you going on more dates? Good morning to those of you who are joining me on Facebook, YouTube. Good morning. Why aren't you going on more dates? Maybe we ask that question. Okay, I mean, do it again and ask a question mark. So this will be unpopular. So I kind of gave you a few minutes to come on in the room, and I see that you're in the room. So I'm going to go ahead and get ready to go. All right. And remember, as I always look over there, I'm always talking to my folks on TikTok as well. Okay. So, yeah. So the question that I have for you this morning: why aren't you going on more dates? How to get more dates? So why aren't you going on more dates? Anybody have any answers that they want to throw out before I go? I'm going to give you a short, sweet, quick message. It'll be short, but it'll be strong. So one of the things that I want to deal with, whoa, y'all are coming in here real quick. So one of the things that I want to deal with really quickly while I have you on, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's go ahead and chop it up, as the men say. We're gonna chop up this wood, chop up all of this wood that we need to get through. Okay. So here's one of the things that I'll start off by saying. I think social media has been a great tool. I think social media has been a great tool. But I also believe that social media has been one of the things that's contributed to the decline in our interpersonal relationships. That's one. That's one. So I think social media, not that I am, not that I am really criticizing social media, but I also fully understand that it is a mechanism that gives us the impression that we are closer than what we are. Social media also gives us the impression that we know more than what we truly know. Okay? Okay? So that's one thing that I think is an issue with why we aren't going on many dates. Ooh, I just have three things right here that I'm sharing. And thank you for tuning in with me and hanging in with me. I'm literally coming through some things and thinking through some things and downloading some things as I'm talking to you all. Hey there, TikTok. Why do you think it is that you don't go on as many dates as you want? What do you have? I want you to share some things as well. Um, and give me some love for those of you who are joining me. I need to see some love or some likes or something. I don't see anything. And Facebook, you all are quiet this morning. I know it's raining and we're getting ready to go out the door. But anyway, let me go ahead and get into this. I have delayed and stalled enough. So let's go ahead and get into this. The issue is, number one, I believe social media, although it's been great and one of the greatest inventions of our time, of modern era, I also think it's one of the greatest hindrances of our time. Social media. Why, Kisa? How many of you spend time all day, every day on your phones? How many of you get the impression almost that you're connected to people because why? Because you're on your phone, you feel like you're in the know, you're talking to people all over the world. Now that's the advantage of social media. It connects us in a way that we have never been connected before. That's one of the advantages of it. But I cannot tell you how many women. Some of my women responded on a post yesterday when I asked, "How long has it been since you've been on a date?" Some people saying it's been years, since 2023, 6 months ago, since last year. Oh, Kisa, I can't even remember. Since my divorce, I have not really been on a date. Y'all, if it's by choice, I I got nothing for it. I will just say, okay, great, no worries, okay, no problem. But if it's not by choice, I think these apps, being on these phones, and listen, I'm on here too, but one of the things that I'm going to use it for, I'm going to utilize this social media and make it do what it does for learning purposes. Thank you for the love on TikTok this morning. Thank you. I'm going to make it do what it does, but it's going to be for learning purposes. It's going to be to my advantage. But I can't tell you how on the one hand social media has connected us to people all over this world. On the other hand, social media has isolated us. A lot of times women, we'd rather stay in. We'll be on our phones. We'll watch TV. We'll watch movies, but we're connecting with everybody on this phone. And guess what? We're starting to feel like I don't really need to go out. I'm catching up with all my friends. I see what everybody's doing here on this app. I see what everybody's doing on TikTok. And next thing you know, is it me or anybody else? You've sat down and you have started and said you're going to check something on your account on one of these social media platforms, and the next thing you know, it's 2 hours later. The next thing you know, it's 3 hours later, and you're like, Lord, where has the time gone? But you're sitting there and with this phone and whatever device, or either your computer, you're just scrolling. You're scrolling. You're scrolling. You're scrolling. You're getting all this information. It's my little light. Woo. My flashlight. But you're scrolling after hours and hours and hours, and you're like, where did the time go? But you're commenting, you're getting immediate gratification from social media. You post something and people are talking to you. Good morning, Jude. Me. You don't have to go out. You're already booed up. You don't have to go out. But I think on the one hand, social media is the downfall of a responsible society, of a reasonable society. I'm sorry. I was getting ready to come strong with my message. And it's just like, no, you need to add this in here as well. Social media, although it's great. Listen, TikTok, listen, Facebook, listen, I'm connected to you by social media. That's the advantage of it. But here's what we have forgotten, or here's what we have missed: the fact that this is not really how society, and this is not really how humans were created to work. We're created for relationship. We're created for fellowship. We're created to be together. We are better together. We were created for relationship. We can't go against God's plan and expect everything to be okay. So while we're connecting on this app, while we're saying, oh, I don't need to go out, our dating lives, our connection is suffering. Yes, it's great that I'm connected to all my friends. Hey, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff, so much. Thank you. What is it? 27 as well. Thank you for all the love there. It's great. And listen, I'm not knocking it, because Jeff and 27 and Lucretia and all these other users and people who are joining, I love, love, love being connected to you. I love, love, love being connected to you. And I don't have to jump in my car and see you. I don't always have to pick up the phone to talk to you and make sure that, my friends are okay. Like my friend here online today who's talking to me, right? That's the perfect thing. But relationally, 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 it's hindering us from forming those deep bonds. And another thing social media gives us the impression, people take the pictures, people post, they go and they dress up, they show you their dates, they show you what they're eating, they show you their travel, they show you their money. So we get the impression that all is well with people when it could be nothing of the sort. We get the impression that everything is going great when it could be nothing of the sort. Talk about one of the things that's hindering us and why you aren't going on more dates. Why? Because we are using these apps really as a substitute for what was created. It will never replace in-person reaction. That's why I always tell my ladies, I have no problem with you going on these apps and looking on these apps. I'm not interested in going on the apps and trying to find a date. That's just not me. But if that's your thing, go for it. Go for it. I highly encourage that. But one of the things that I always tell them, if you're going to do that, you need to use them responsibly. And what does that mean? That means that it's okay if you start off in the virtual world, okay? It's okay. The only thing I would say, don't stay there. It's okay if you start off in the virtual world. It's okay if I meet my person virtually. But if that person wants to keep you in that virtual world, for extended amount of time, you may want to reconsider. Now, I'm not saying that you should go and you should invite them to your house. There are several cases of women, there are several cases of vulnerable people who go, may even travel and leave the country meeting people that they love or met online, or either they go to their house and then terrible things happen to them. I have a case in my mind where this young African American woman goes to meet this gentleman. They met online, apparently. Great looking guy. Actually, no, that's incorrect. The gentleman came to her house. Great looking guy, seemed to have it all together, right? She was African American. He was a Caucasian gentleman, and she invites him over to her house. Next thing you know, this young lady is no more. Yes, this young lady is no more. You fill in the blanks with that, okay? So my issue is we have to be careful. And social media does not substitute for those interpersonal discerning skills. When I see you in person, and when you meet somebody, ladies and gentlemen, let me go ahead and throw this safety tip and this caution out there, okay? Red alert, red alert, red alert. When you meet someone for the very first time, for the very second time, for the very third time, for the very fourth time, all the way up through possibly the 10th time, let it be in a public place, ladies and gentlemen. We are in an age where people are literally losing their lives, meeting people up in private places. No, if you want to see me, you need to see me in public at first. And then once you see them in public, I want you to start listening to the things that are going on in your heart. Are you being checked? Are you getting some, hey Chris, you agree with that, brother? And I've got brothers here, TikTok. I've got gentlemen who are here, my friends who are watching me on Facebook. And my friends are saying, yes, they agree with that. And I know, Chris, that, you would tell that to your sister or to the women in your life. Like, look, you don't go out and meet anybody. And really, friends, I'm even talking about, because there is a rise of doing business on social media. I cannot get off social media, so it's for a reason. There's a rise of doing business on social media. We use our phones and we go and buy and sell and trade, and we meet people to buy and sell and trade, right? No problem with that, but make doggone sure it's in a public place. Do not meet people in private, isolated places. What are public places? You can meet them in the doggone mall, meet them in a public parking lot, even if you want to meet them inside of a restaurant, because guess what? You have other eyes, you have other people who are on you, even some other crowded places that you can think of. Social media is great. We do business here. We buy things here for a fraction of the cost, right? Right here on this app that many of you are watching me on right here on the computer, okay? We love it. We love it. We love it. We do business in the marketplace there. No problem with that. But what I'm saying is social media, and I'm extending it out to that dating space. Social media is a tool, but it does not replace common sense. And some of us, we're getting our feel looking at guys, we're getting our feel looking at women, and the women appear to be perfect. The men appear to be perfect. And so, guess what? I don't really want to go on a date. A date for what? My eyes are getting all that I need. I'm hearing the things that I want to hear. I'm seeing for some of us, social media discourages us from dating. We become discouraged because we look at people who are out and we think they're living their best life. Sometimes we won't even go out because we're seeing women who are dressed. We're seeing men who are dressed, and they're in their finery. They're taking one snapshot in time, dressed in their best suit, dressed in their finery, dressed in their best dresses, putting on their best shoes, and all you see is the ring, all you see is the jewelry, all you see is this, and they are holding up that drink, they're holding up that wine bottle, and they're toasting. This is not a wine bottle, this is a water bottle, but they're toasting, and they appear to be living their best life. And all they're doing is staging something so the world can think that they have it going on more than what they actually do. Did somebody hear what I just said? All they're doing is staging things like that so that people in the world, across the world, you and I, can think that they're doing more than what they're actually doing. And what we say is, dang, I don't have that. Dang, I'm not enjoying my life like that. Dang, I don't have that sort of, I don't have those, but my nails aren't done like that. My nails aren't done. I do my own nails. Come on, somebody. I do my own nails at this point. I do my own nails. And if I go get them done, I'm going to go to an African American nail tech. There are many that I'm connected to, but I'm going to an African American nail tech. I want business to circulate. This is not knocking anybody else, but I've just made a decision and I'm going to keep my dollars flowing in my community. If you need recommendations on African American nail techs, hit me up, hit me up, hit me up. Okay. But I'm not going to feel bad because I see this lady with with fake nails on their what do you call it, on their trying to dap up or trying to have wine and all that kind of stuff and look a certain way. And look, some of you think that these people are going to get their nails done. Let me tell you, do you know the biggest rage right now, my sister? I'm trying to free somebody because we're comparing ourselves. And even the Bible says it is unwise to compare yourself to other people. We're comparing ourselves to what they see, to what we see other people are doing. Oh gosh. And we feel bad because we're just not doing that. I feel bad. This person has all this. You see this shot of this person with their wrist and nails done and all that glitter and all that kind of stuff, and their nails done and rings. And, we're just like, man, I don't have all of that. They've got the finery. They're taking these side shots, and you think, oh, she's fine. Oh, he's fine. Baby, he's photoshopped that. Sweetheart, he's photoshopped that. I use them too. They're filters that people use. I'm trying to free somebody today. Look here, let me make sure I'm seeing what you've written. I put my glasses on, Chris. I've told my sister this. I've even told her that when she dates someone on social media, I need his information. Chris, bravo to you, my friend. Bravo. Bravo. When you date somebody on social media, y'all better be telling other people because these people pose as fake people. Hey, Miss Deborah. They pose as fake people. Listen, I do more talking on social media than anything to get my point across and to encourage because I recognize social media is a tool, but I don't get caught up in the life of other people and trying to figure out what other people are doing. Sometimes these folks be lying, y'all. Sometimes they're lying. Sometimes they're lying. They're taking one shot. They're standing at the side. They use a filter. The filter shaves off 30 pounds off of them. And you're saying, oh my gosh, I don't look like that. They don't either. Oh my gosh, I don't have that. They don't either. Don't you know there are apps that can dress you, that can clothe you, that can literally, that can make your face up. You don't have to move from your room. An app will redo you thanks to AI right now. Y'all better be looking at these folks in public. And when you meet them, let me repeat again, for those of you who may have missed, you meet somebody in that virtual space, online, on here, on Meetup, on these dating apps. I have no problem with it, but you got to bring them out of this virtual space and see who they are, honey. You have to see what they're working with. And when you bring them out of the virtual space, you bring them out in public. You don't bring them out to your house. You don't invite ma'am to your house. You don't invite sir to your house. No, no, no. You meet them in public where other people can't watch. I'm being strong on that, and I have not gotten off of this yet. I'm trying to get off of it. But part of the reason is social media. We're watching social media too much. Go back to I'm big on giving you not only the issue, the problem, but I'm big on giving you the solution as well. So instead of you just hanging out with social media most of the time, if I don't have a problem with social media, clearly I don't. Clearly I don't. I think it's one of the greatest marketing tools we'll ever use in our lifetime. And it's getting supersized and more incredible by the day, more expansive by the day. But again, sometimes I talk to my ladies, y'all, and I ask them, when's the last time you've been on the date? It's been a long while, but they don't even allow themselves to go and sit down and have coffee or go and sit down and go to a restaurant and treat themselves sometimes. They don't allow themselves to go out and be in a public space where other professionals would be. If I had an issue not getting dates, I would go out sometimes, and I don't drink as much, but sometimes I would go to the bar and order a strawberry daiquiri, a virgin strawberry daiquiri, a non-alcoholic strawberry daiquiri, a non-alcoholic pina colada. I would dress up in my finery and do that. I'm not talking about what I heard. I'm talking about what I know. I take myself out on dates. I go, and you don't have to call it that. Sometimes I just want to go and be out amongst good people and vibe and all that stuff. Who is gonna shame you for going out and sitting down having a wonderful dinner and enjoy? Who will shame you for that? You work too much. I have my person on TikTok sharing safe. Okay, I work too much. You got to come out of that working space a little bit, my friend. 27. You got to come out. You all. Good morning, Barry. Oh yes, going to vote today. Thank you for the reminder. Vote, vote, vote. You all know how I am about voting. Vote, vote, vote. TikTok. If you're in Alabama, we have a primary today. Vote, vote, vote. Polls are open till 7 o'clock. Well, it's raining. Rain is no excuse. It doesn't stop you from doing anything else. If you had a date with somebody that you wanted to meet up with, you would go and date. Okay. If you were getting married, I guarantee you would show up at the altar. In the words of, who is it? Jagged Edge, meet me at the altar. If that gentleman asked you to meet him at the altar, I guarantee you would meet him at the altar today. So we're not going to use excuses. And if you're not going to do it, you're just not going to do it. But let me throw this plug in right here. This world is changing. I want to be found on the right side of history. I want to be found doing everything I can to contribute positively to this changing world. This world is changing rapidly. Lawlessness abounds. But at least Kisa wants to know that she's done her part. I would want to know that I've done my part. But when I tell you that this world is changing and you see it, but it's about to go at lightning fast speed, even more so now, the changes that we're about to see. AI, robots are already all over China. They're coming here. We've got our first robotic teacher. Is it in the state of Texas that I saw? Change is coming. I'm going to deal with that a little bit later. We're talking about dating today. So go vote. But that's my plug for voting. This world is changing. I would want to do everything that I can. I would want to do everything that I could to make sure that I'm on the right side of history and that I have contributed positively to this world that we live in as we know it now, because it is about to change. Social media. You got to come off of social media and you got to go interact with people. It's as simple as that. We're not going to have the result that we want not doing the things that worked for us before. Yes, I know social media is wonderful. Yes, I know that it's great to interact. It's great to scroll. It's entertaining. I'm entertaining. Sometimes I get on there and I do things that I laugh. I want people to laugh, but I recognize it's not a real space. I have friends. I've gone out on dates. I don't go out on dates on social media. I don't date anybody on social media. I admit that COVID changed things for us and that we had to consider virtual meeting. But there's no reason to stay there with where we are today. Calling you out, Deborah. You got to come out of that comfort zone. You got to come out of that comfort zone. We cannot ignore, and this is not just for you, Deborah. This is for any of us. I had to learn this. We cannot have what we want if we're not willing to put in the necessary work. So social media is, and I have to remember this for myself. Social media, if we're not careful, it dumbs us down. It makes everyone think that they're the expert on everything, and we're not. We're not. I'm just more confident in saying some things now because I'm 54 and I've lived a little bit. You understand? So there's some things that you won't question me on. You won't question me on my relationship with God. You won't question me on some other things that I know and I have seen. If you can disagree, because everybody's experience will be colored a little bit differently, but there's certain things that you know, and once you know, I'm not going to argue with you. I know this is my experience, and there are certain laws that are true. For instance, if you want to argue with me about whether or not you can go to the ledge of a building and jump off and whether or not you will make it and be okay. Listen, experience and life has taught me that gravity remains in full effect no matter what season, no matter what country, no matter what time of day, no matter what environment, no matter what the weather forecast. Gravity is always in play. So my experience tells me that any person or anything that you push or throw off the side of a building, it's going to hit the ground. I'm not going to argue with anybody who says, no, it's not really going to hit the ground, or somebody could survive if they jumped off the edge of the building. This is teaching purposes only. You understand what I'm saying. I am not in advising anybody to do that, but I'm saying there is a good chance that you would wind up hurting yourself at the very least if you were to do it. So what am I saying? I don't argue with people who try to argue about what I know. I will share what I know. You can do with it as you will. We cannot sit back, Keith says, and just go along with what is going on. Keith, I totally agree. I totally agree. Thanks, Lady J. I totally agree. We can't just sit back and go along with what's going on. We've got to make some changes immediately. But y'all, the future is already here. Whether we know it, Deborah Alexander, am doing better. Oh, good. I'm proud of you, Deborah. I'm proud of you. The future is already here, whether we know it or not. Yeah, it was voted in. Future is already here. This is the plan is just being enacted, and they're in some cases they're taking us slower, but the future is already here. And you remember I mentioned the robots earlier? Well, they're already creating robots that they will use as home aids to cook, to clean, and do different things like that. And there are people who are already in relationships with beings and things online. Yeah, there's some people who are already in relationships with virtual things, and I suspect that they will be creating robots and to be in relationship with you. That's what I suspect. I suspect some people will date robot. It's crazy to think about this, but I believe that that is exactly what is going to happen. Hopefully I'll be wrong. Hopefully I'll be wrong. So what else do we have going here? What else do I want to talk about? Information overload. This, I want to just say this and say it very kindly. But some of us, because the whole idea of the internet, the whole idea of social media, it is giving a lot of people a false sense of knowledge. And what happens is, as a result of having that false sense of knowledge, people are not enacting, they're not dating, they're not healing themselves because they are listening to all of these gurus online. See, I'm a life coach, right? Hey, China. Hey, China, you need to reach out to me. I wanted to holler at you. Just wanted to talk. Nothing negative or anything like that, but I just wanted to holler at you. Hey, Terrence, and hey, Keith, and all that kind of stuff. The country is not united. No, it's not, Keith. The country is not united at all. It's not united at all. We have turned a corner, is what I'll say. My user on TikTok. What's going on, y'all? But one of my users on TikTok says that the country is not united. No, we're more divided than ever. Even though we think we're more connected through social media, that's the deception of social media. Oh, I think I'm connected to you, Keith, because I can see your name. I can go and read your profile, but I don't know you. You don't know me. I can come on here and I'm smiling here, teaching purposes only. I'm smiling, Keith. I'm smiling, Deborah, and all my friends here on Facebook. but you don't know me. You know what happens if I come home and I'm a completely different person. So that's why too I think it creates all of these this disappointment. But we have information overload, my friends. We have information overload. So what happens is, because I think I am informed, I think I have the information. Therefore, I don't think that I need to. Therefore, I don't think that I need to go and I have to put on my glasses when I really need to see something. I don't think I really need to learn anything or work on myself because I have information. Chat GPT, Claude, Gemini, they will all give information on how 10 steps on how I can get more dates. You don't need me to tell you that. Claude will tell you that. AI will tell you that, right? They'll tell you how to get more dates. Then you can implement all of those steps. But I'm, as a life coach, the change coach. It is because we have such a diverse, is it because we have such a diverse population? What do you mean, Keith? Help me out on that. Maybe. What do you mean? Help me out. Help me out when you ask me that. But because I am on this app and because I'm getting all of this information on how to date, okay, how to make him, how to attract him, how to attract him. You were getting all this free information, how to attract him, how to make sure that she, how to attract her, how to, what women want and what to do on the first date, how to attract the love of your life, how to do this. So we read that, we watch those videos, why men do this, why women do this, why whatever. We watch all these videos. And so what we arrogantly think is oh, I already know about that. Oh, I already know how to get a date. I already know why men are doing this. All I have to do is be more approachable. All I have to do is go out on more dates. All I have to do is this. All I have to do is that. All I have to do is dress a certain way. All I have to do is appear to be having fun and appear to be my life, appear to be lit on social media. All I have to do is put on a cute little filter and shake my hair and everything and take all these pictures and act all seductive and everything. And then guess what? Then that's how I'm going to stand out above the crowd and get my man, honey, because I'm going to do all this superficial stuff because I have all this information out here. And I also see all these other women doing it and it is working for them. They are getting all this attention from me. And so, oh, I know how to do that. Listen, I can take the correct picture. I can move at the correct angle. I can look a certain way. Okay. We can do all of this. AI robots will get tired of us. That's the thing about AI robots. They are emotionless, Keith. Keith said that AI robots will get tired of us, even if we do get a robot to date us. Yes, but they are emotionless, so they won't. They won't have an emotion. No way they're going to get tired. They don't operate in emotion. That's why they're utilizing them. That's why they're utilizing them. They have no emotion. They won't get tired. We're the ones who get in our feelings and we get tired. And that is the beauty of this human population. AI will never, ever replace that. Computers will never, ever replace that. That ability that you have to connect, that ability that you have to empathize with someone, that ability that you have to understand, that ability that you have to laugh, that ability that you have to feel, that ability that you have to touch, that ability that you have to laugh together, the ability that you have to be in a group and you're laughing and you're dancing and you're having a great time. That is something that AI cannot duplicate. It cannot. It can try. It may even come close, but AI cannot duplicate real relationship and real connection. It cannot do that. They will be the next gen. Yeah, they're here, but it still cannot replace the wonderful thing that is God's creation. Is it possible that men and women no longer need to date? Come on, let me let you cook on that, Judson. What do you mean? That's a great question. What do you mean? What do you mean? Explain. So if we no longer need to date, what do we do? Are you saying, do we just get married, or what do we do? We just don't interpersonally connect anymore. So I have a person, I have a person here, not yet, Keith. I have a person on Facebook who basically said, "Is it possible that we no longer need to date?" And I posed that question to you, TikTok, Facebook. I have my other line going there where I'm talking to my folks on TikTok. So TikTok, do you all think that it's possible that we don't need to date anymore? And does anybody else agree with that? I'm going to hold that question up because that's a great question. Is it possible that we no longer need to date? I'm going to let you cook on that. I need you to explain. Do you mean that we just don't date anymore? We just get married, or we just have our profiles match and sync, and it's like based on this, because AI can do that too. Based on this, you're this type of person. You have this, and this. So therefore, you are better connected to a person who has this, and this. So therefore, based on this dating pool, we're going to connect you with this person. I could definitely see AI doing that. And I could definitely see myself resisting that. Like, oh, you're going to tell me who's better for me today. No, 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 no. I want to think for myself. Because again, AI cannot replace connection. It can't, y'all. It cannot replace connection. It cannot replace discernment. It cannot replace that instant, that spontaneous thing that happens when you connect with someone else. AI cannot replace intimacy. Tell me how that works with a robot. How does physical intimacy work with a robot? How does that work? Don't explain, because y'all might just ruin my morning if you tell me that, but I'm not interested in that. A metal being, a metal structure. No. No thanks. All right, here we go, Judson. I'm curious to see what you have to say. That we have come far enough into abuse cycles that it's no longer healthy for current singles to keep trying. Oh, I'm glad you brought that up, because you're leading me right into really to the crux of this today. That we have come, so I have a friend on Facebook who asked, is it possible that we no longer need to date? And upon clarification, my friend is saying and asking, is it possible that we have come far enough into abuse cycles that it's no longer healthy for current singles to keep trying? In other words, we just don't date anymore. So Judson, if we don't keep, and I love this because you're giving me a chance to coach live online. Y'all stay with me if you can. Stay with me if you can. Or if not, come back to about this point, about 30 minutes in, and listen to this. This is great. So if we know the question that I would start with a couple of questions, Judson. And I would say, if we no longer date, then what are we doing? Are you saying that you have no need for human connection at all? So if you don't date, and this is not a criticism, I'm just asking. So to answer your question, for those who may have to go, is it possible that we just no longer need to date? That's the question that was asked. That answer is an absolute no. Of course, I'm not going to give up on a dating cycle because of what I have endured in the past. That's just like saying, because I've gotten fired from a job in the past. I don't know why we're quick to give up on love and we don't give up on anything else. We get fired from jobs all the time. We get fired. We get dismissed from positions all the time. We get up. How many of you rode a bike back in the day? How many of you learned to ride a bike and you fell off? You skint your knee, you bruised yourself. How many of you were running around as a kid and I remember running on the hard concrete pavement at my house, and I ran and ended up falling and scraping my knee. That didn't stop me from running or walking. It didn't stop me. Why do we give up on love? Because we've been hurt. Because he's leading me right into my whole point today. You got to pick your poison. All of us are flawed. The perfect mate that many are looking for doesn't exist. Thank you, LP. There is no perfect person. You're not perfect. Come on now. Let me cook on this one. You're not perfect. LP, we talked about that 2 weeks ago on our live. Man, that was an awesome live. Everybody's looking for this person. There's no need to date. Nobody out there can satisfy me. No, you want to know what that is? Here we go. This is the crux of the message today that was downloaded just for you. What we need to do is we need to heal. We will not deal with our own personal trauma. We will not deal with our own personal issues. That's an excellent analogy. Thank you, bro. That we will not deal with our own. And when he says that's an excellent analogy, so basically you agree with that too, Keith. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Keith. Thank you, LP. Basically, we won't deal with our own issues. This is, thank you, Jesus. This is what he was bringing to me. I was like, that's not what I'm wanting to cover. No, thank you for bringing this in, Judson. We don't want to heal. We're still angry that a young lady wouldn't go out on a date with us back in the day. We're still angry that a young lady had something negative to say to us. She joked on us because we were short, or she joked on that shirt that I was wearing. So you know what? I don't like any girls anymore. And particularly, I may not like any African American women. Because when I was going to school, they joked on me. They said I was wearing this and that. So I don't deal with sisters anymore. I don't deal with brothers anymore because I kept trying to date some and they just never would date me. So I don't deal with brothers anymore. I'll give you a more practical example. You all go to restaurants every day. The restaurant completely messes up your order. Completely messes it up. You go back to that restaurant the next week or the week thereafter, especially some of these larger chains. You go right back to that restaurant. But when it comes to relationships, oh, no, I don't need to date anymore. Y'all, you were created for relationship. The Bible says it is not good that man should be alone. God created a helper for him. That's in Genesis. That's why with everything in me, I'm going to be on these internet streets and I am going to disrupt the narrative that says, oh, we just need to go to a robotic society. Oh, we just don't need people anymore. We're going to let robots run around here. The robots can run around, but I guarantee you, God gave me space on this earth. I'm going to run around here too. Get out of the way. I'm going to run. I have the right to this. I have a right here. I have a right to take up and breathe and have space here. How dare any person, I don't care how much money you have, you're not Jesus. How dare any person tell me that I'm better suited to be with a robot. I don't need relationship anymore. It's just better for me not to date. Judson, I'm so glad you opened that up. Sweetheart, the word that I can say to you is this one thing simply: heal. Heal. Love is the real thing, Keith, isn't it? Heal. For some of us, it's better. Well, you can send me all of these videos on social media. You're going through all these videos, and you think by going through those videos, you think that you're whole. You think that you know something because you're going through and you're watching the videos of what these dating experts are telling you. You're listening to that, so now you're knowledgeable now. Oh, I know. So I don't have to deal with my issues. You got to deal with your issues still, my friend. Thank you for those who still are joining me on TikTok. Thank you for those of you who are joining me on Facebook. You still have to deal with your issues, friend. If that person hurt you, you need to deal with that pain. You need to go sit down, talk to a therapist and say, I am hurting. This hurt me. This hurt me. But some of us would rather sit in a corner, in a room to ourselves, by ourselves, rather than take the responsibility. Many people only want a mate that they can control. If you don't say that, LP, I want this person to do everything that I want them to do. I can't factor in any unexpected. I can't handle your emotions. I can't handle if you have a bad day. I can't handle if you don't give me everything that I need. That's control. So you know what? There are people who are thinkers in our society, and what they do is they study. Have you all ever, and LP, I know you'll appreciate this, Thanos, Avengers, Endgame. You all would do yourselves a favor to go back and watch that, because my goodness, if that didn't predict, when people get a certain amount of power, when people get a certain amount of resources, they're no longer just happy enjoying their lives and helping their families' lives. No. The next thing for humans who have a twisted perception of what they think control is, They now want to go and manage other people. God has given us the ability to control because we're all leaders. So we all have the ability, we all have the desire to go and manage things. But the most important thing that we can manage is ourselves. But when that desire becomes twisted, we start wanting to control other people. And for certain people who have copious amounts, amounts of money, a lot of money, they start wanting to control other people. And then it even goes farther. They even start wanting to control societies. Y'all, Avengers Endgame, the Avengers series, Thanos, in it, power and money will corrupt. And it is, and the Bible specifically goes on to say, for it is the love of money that is the root of all evil. It's not money. Money is a tool. It's a tool. Money just exposes who you are. Money exposes who I am. It's a tool. But when you have these different people who have so much money, well, it's boring now to just deal with myself and my family. My family is straight. I'm straight for 5, 6 generations, 7, 8 generations, what I have in place. So now it's time to control the masses. I want to look outside and control the masses. So is it best? I'm doing live coaching here, y'all. Is it best for us to just fall by the wayside and say we just aren't going to date anymore? Is that what you really want? Well, if you're not going to date, what are you going to do? Are you just going to kind of hang up in your house or just kind of hang around and do some other things? There's a need that you have for other people. The question is, how are you going to fulfill that need? There is a need that you have for people. There's a need that you have for connection. The question, how are you going to fulfill it? God created us to be in relationship. If you're not in relationship, how are you going to fulfill that? Well, you'll fulfill it some way. You have desires, you'll fulfill it some way. We just may not know how you're going to do that. So in my opinion, and listen, it's not to change anybody's thought process, but for me to go around on this earth and to think, okay, well, no, I'm just not going to date anymore. There's just no hope. The devil is a liar. He's a whole, bold, big face, ugly faced liar. Oh, I just don't need a relationship anymore. I'm just gonna do my thing. Okay. I can't change your mind if that's what you want to do and if that's what you want to be. But I can guarantee you there that will not lead to a fulfilling life. And it's so sad to me that people who have greater resources than what we have, because they study us on things like social media, they study what we're saying, they study what we're doing, they study the inordinate amounts of time that we stay on here, and they look and study the fact that we have nothing else. We're single, largely single. So you know what? We can throw some things out there. We're moving to a society anyway where they no longer need to have relationship. The thing that we're running away from is our greatest strength. Did you hear what I just said? The thing that we're running away from is our greatest strength. What is that? Relationships. They know we're largely isolated. They know we're largely spending time at home. Oh, I don't need. Oh, they're listening, y'all. When you get on there and say, I don't need a man. When you say a whole lie, Kim, is a whole lie. The devil is a whole lie to try to tell us that we don't need one another. We're going to just move in and just stay in the house. And don't y'all now, if you really start listening to some of these people who are talking about the future, that's what they're trying to move us to anyway. To be controlled, to be in where they control where you move, where they control what you do, they control what you buy, and they keep you in under control as a society. As part of the reason we're moving to a cashless society. You only can move to a certain area, you can only buy certain things, you can only stay within a certain radius. But guess what? We're really just leading them right into it because you have people who are sinister. Don't you remember that in the Bible that Satan went against God himself? It wasn't good enough to be in the presence of the Lord. It wasn't good enough to have everything, every access. No, he wanted power. He wanted to take over heaven. And you know what God did? Pew! As a bolt of light. Pew! Get out of here. You kidding me? But where did that spirit reside? Where did that spirit go? That spirit of, I want to take over. That spirit of, I know better than everybody else. That spirit of, we don't need people. God sent him right down to the earth to mess with us. Well, I don't know about the earth. He actually is not. He has an influence in the earth, but really he went to He blank blank. He went. That's where he reside. Hades. But what happens? That influence. He has influence here. You understand? So we're either being influenced by his minions, angels, or we're either being influenced by God's angels from above or his angels from below, right? And God gives us as humans choice. We sit right in the middle and we have a choice. And we can choose to be influenced by his higher thoughts and his higher ways, or we can be influenced by the ways of the enemy. And I'm just telling you all, we're getting all this information, and you're getting information. But guess what? It's a two-way street. They're getting information. Man is one of God's greatest, I would say his greatest creations, one of his greatest creations. But unfortunately, there is a mentality among some of his children that of people he created or allowed to be created. He created. But there's a mentality, they're smarter than God. So God created us as humans, and their thought is, we don't need humans anymore. I'm telling you, go back and watch Avengers. Some of it we don't agree with, but the principle. Got another one that you can see. I always like to watch. I don't know why I've always been attracted, but the Transformers, classic battle of good and evil, especially those later iterations, Transformers like that 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, where they're illustrating all of this, how we're moving into a society where your thoughts will be able to create some things, where computers and technology, it overrides everything. Classic good versus evil, preparing us for some things. And boy, Avengers Endgame especially, because what happens when a person gets power, rarely, and especially if a person has absolute power, rarely do they, sometimes they do, but my God, it takes a special person to use that power to be a blessing to other people. Many times they want to use that power to really, for whatever reason, hurt God's creation. Boy, he started something with me on that, saying, and I guess Judson says, never mind, let me get out of here. But Judson, it led me to my point today, that because of information overload, because of where we are in society today, we just know, it pains me that we're at a place where we feel that we no longer need relationship. And there are people who are taking advantage of that. They watch us here. Everything that we enter, everything that we say is being entered here. That's why I intentionally disrupt the space. I intentionally disrupt it. Intentionally. It's the only reason I'm on here, to be able to tell you all that we're not going to settle for that. God created us for relationship, where things are not just happening. We still have the right to pray. We still have the authority to pray. You understand? We still have the victory. Greater is he that's on the inside of us than he that's in the world. And guess what, my friends? Guess what? At no point is the creation ever going to be smarter than the creator. Did you hear what I said? The Lord brought this to me today because I'm looking at all the things that they're doing with AI, and they're telling us it's going to be so positive. It's going to help you in business. Do you really think they're concerned about helping us in business? Do you see my eyes? Do you really think they're that concerned about helping us accelerate in business? Blink with me. You don't have to say, no, I'm with you, Keith. No, I don't think they're that concerned about helping us. Start reading up on these data centers. They're popping up everywhere. Start reading on that. Why are we so, do we really even know about data centers? Do we really even know what data centers do? Have they really informed us as a public? Number one. Number two, they haven't even given us information regarding data centers. We don't know about information. They're just popping them up. That's disturbing. That's disturbing. But I'm talking about dating today. I'll get on that on with a whole other issue. Right around the first week in July, I'm gonna deal with some of the things going on in this country. We're gonna deal with dating this week and next week. And then toward the first of the month, I'm gonna pivot and we're gonna talk about some of the things that I see going on in this country. And it's not too late to do something about it. But again, about those data centers, I'm not saying anything other than do your research. Because if it's really in the public interest, why hadn't the public had an opportunity to voice, or why doesn't the public at large know about what these things are doing? Because there are people who have more money and who think that they're smarter. And so they're making decisions now because what they have seen largely from society is that we are largely distracted. And what they're doing, we're putting all of our information and they're gathering as much information as they can through these smartphones and other items, right? And so that information has to live somewhere. They're collecting copious amounts of information so they can do what? Give us a profile. AI, you can put in AI. AI knows everything about you. It knows everything about me, but they've been collecting this information through our web searches. They've been collecting this information. How in the world does AI know so much about you? Oligarchs. Exactly, Kay. Thanos. Go back and you don't even have to watch the movie. Read Thanos. Look up a summary about Thanos in the Avengers. Look up a summary about him. Wanted ultimate power. And part of him wanting ultimate power in the Avengers was too, he felt he had the right. He would go in and destroy whole civilizations. He would just go in, destroy whole civilizations. You'd see him. They just would go and they would planet hop, destroy whole entire civilizations. But Earth was the only one that remained a little pesky because Earth, the citizens had an opportunity to think. They were pesky. So he had to come a different route and he had to collect some things. And once he collected those things, he wanted absolute power. And as part of wanting absolute power, can't have too many people here, because if you have too many people, they might try to stage a coup. They can outnumber us still ultimately. But what you start doing, you try to get rid of the people. I don't think he was a pet. I don't think he was a pedophile. Who are you talking about, Keith, that you don't think is a pedophile? But his whole deal was he wanted to destroy people. You go back and watch Avengers, and then with it too, he would go in and destroy civilizations across planets. He just planet hop and destroy civilizations. And then, as a great test of him getting power, he was even willing to destroy someone who was close to him. Cared nothing about it. It was his test that he had to create, to destroy someone who was close to him, or to destroy someone who was ultimately innocent. He didn't care. He did not care. He did not care. Sound familiar? So what does that have to do with you today? AI wants to take away our free will. It does. It is. That's it. Thanos. Yeah. No, Thanos wasn't a pedophile. No, 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 no. He wasn't. He wasn't. He wasn't. No, Thanos just wanted power. He was drunk off of power. He didn't care about anything else. He was just drunk off of power. So I'm not saying distrust AI. I'm saying be very careful. And my friend came on here and he asked the question about whether or not that just means that we shouldn't date anymore. People make their personal choice, but I think personally that's what they want. They would prefer us not to date, because when you're not dating, you're isolated. You're alone. Yeah, you're alone. You're isolated. Heal, my friends. Heal. I know we have all this information with social media. We have all these tips and tricks on how to get more dates and what to do and what men like. But the lack of personal healing is a huge issue, and not only in our community, but in our society. Healing will protect you. Healing will move you to the next level so you can see accurately. If for teaching purposes only, when a person has a broken limb, they really can't appreciate all the rest of their body that their body is doing. Because why? What are they doing? They are trying to heal that broken limb, and they're focused double, triple time on that limb. This has to heal, man. Let alone the fact that their fingers are working fine, let alone the fact that their legs are working fine. They're focused on trying to heal that limb. That becomes their focus. They cover it, they protect it, they nurse it until it's healed. The same thing happens with our heart. The reason that we ask questions like that, like, do we even need to date? Or shouldn't we just leave dating alone? Or hasn't the time come where we're just not going to date anymore? The reason we ask questions like that is because our heart has been hurt. We have been hurt. Somewhere damaged in our conscious or subconscious by an action, by the lack of something, by what someone did. We've been damaged. So as a result of that, what we're doing is we're protecting our heart. People can't see it, but you've got an invisible shield over your heart. So it's frightening, it's scary to even try anymore. It's just better that I be alone. And so again, there are oligarchs, there are those in power who see this and say, since they're not wanting to date much anyway, we can move to a society where people don't necessarily. I like the glasses. I like the shades. Somebody just gave me some shades. I like that. We can move to a society where they don't need to date. They don't need people. But that's about control. It's about control. Have a good day. Okay, back to work. See you later. Bye, KK. That is control. And I'm just going to say, we've got to heal. We're not healed. And we think that by getting on here, by talking, we think by listening to all these videos on our phone and on our devices, oh, I'm healed. Oh, I know why we do this. I know. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not healed. You're not whole. You're still angry because that girl called you a bad name. You're still angry because that young man broke your heart back in the day. You're still angry because your mother called you an ugly name and told you that you would never be anything. So you're really still angry at your mother. You're angry because your dad wasn't in your life. So now you're angry at all men. When for 50%, 60% of you, sitting down and talking to a therapist or a coach will create new thoughts for you. It'll create a new life for you. But being accountable and holding yourself accountable scares you more than anything else. So rather than holding yourself accountable, I'm just not going to date. These women don't need anything. And then you've got people here on the internet, this certain movement among men in which they attack women. They attack women and tell you that women are the problem. Oh, a woman who is a baby mama, her stock has decreased. Well, let me ask you something. A woman can't get herself pregnant. So if her stock is decreased, what about the gentlemen who are laying with her? And not only her, but who go around and lay around with different women. Y'all don't get me started on that. But we're filling our minds with junk rather than giving people grace. Because guess what? You aren't perfect either, sir. You aren't perfect either, ma'am. And how dare you judge? You're looking at somebody based on what they've done. You just hadn't gotten caught in what you do. We can't see your sin, but there are things that you're doing behind the scenes every day, which are crazy and creepy. But you want to judge somebody who's brought life to this world, may have made a few mistakes or had some relationships that didn't work out. Maybe she was married before and is no longer married. But how dare you judge? How dare we go around and judge? But always the funniest thing to me, and maybe I'm out here by myself. We want to talk about the baby mama. Oh, the baby mama. She can't this, she can't that. Yeah. She can't this, she can't that. Well, it's whatever. This baby mama, oh, okay. Her stock has gone down. Sir, Did she make the baby by herself? Come on, TikTok. Regrettably, the convicted felon Donald Trump has made misogyny and hatred fashionable again. Absolutely, he's made that fashionable again, friend. But we can resist it. That's why I'm on here. That's why I'm on here for an hour talking to you all on TikTok, for an hour talking to you all on Facebook, because I'm not going to be quiet. I'm going to say God is love, and we can still love one another, and we can still fight this with love. Good morning, Regina. We can still do that. We can still continue to thrive. We can continue to resist that. I'm interrupting the space intentionally with the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm not, and I'm not going to feel bad. I'm not going to watch what they're saying online and allow them to shape my thought about myself. Nah, because I have to stay safe, my dear. Thank you, Keith. You know, you're like, that's like the third thing. Judge not that you be not judged. Absolutely. That's right. And when I say that, I want to use absolute wisdom, because notice how I'm coming on, and this is what I'm saying, Keith. We can resist this and by love. You don't have to be violent, to say, let me interrupt this space and give a message of hope and love. That's all Jesus did. That's all I'm saying. But thank you for the reminder. What did you say, Kim? I always ask if the baby mama is so crazy, why did you leave your kids with her? That always shifts the conversation. Bravo. Bravo. Let me share why I'm laughing. Kim, I'm going to read this to make sure my audience hears this in TikTok land. So about the baby mama, and I say that with the utmost respect, I don't have any children. So if you are a baby mama, God bless you. And I mean that entirely. God did not allow me to have any children. So really, you have one of the greatest blessings. And I don't even know if you recognize that or not. So I was not allowed to steward a child. I've babysat, kept many. I have not had my own children. So for the baby mamas, God bless you. God gave you something greater than most people will ever recognize. And that is a seed. And that is your seed to carry on and to live in this earth. But my friend Kim here says, she says she always asks, if the baby mama is so crazy, why did you leave the children with her? You know, all these men who go on and criticize the baby mama. Man, she crazy. Man, she this. Man, she that. Why did you leave the kids with her then? And she said that always shifts the conversation. Do you hear what I say? God blessed me with 2 daughters and 5 grandchildren. That's what I'm talking about, Miss Julie. It's a blessing to have these kids. But for those gentlemen who say the baby mama is crazy, okay, sir, well then why don't you remain a force in the children's lives if the baby mama is crazy? Now, let me not say there are some baby mamas who do have issues. Oh, I've seen some of them. There are baby mamas who have issues. Oh yeah, they do too much. They're mean-spirited. They withhold the children from the fathers. Oh, there are baby mamas who are a piece of work. I'm not arguing that part, because there are baby daddies who are a piece of work too. I didn't blink. There are baby daddies who are a piece of work too. All of us are a piece of work without the help of the Lord, okay? All of us are a piece of work without the help of the Lord. But my question again, for the next time, I want you all to please ask this for me. Don't tell them that you're asking for you. Say, hey, I got a friend. And the question that she always had is, man, why is there so much heat for the baby mama when she couldn't make the child by herself? Do you see how I'm looking? She couldn't make the child by herself. So why do we not talk or speak to the baby daddies as much? They just get a pass. Remember back in the day how they would make the young lady go before the church and confess, but the baby daddy got a pass. He didn't have to go before the church and confess. The baby mama had to go before the church. It goes both ways, doesn't it, Kim? The baby mama would have to go and stand before the church as if she did something to make herself expectant. Huh? I don't think we do it anymore because probably enough people have said, hold on, hold on. But then we still do it in another way. We shame that lady in another way. Everybody has made bad choices. I have made bad choices. I have made bad choices. Except for the grace of God, I make bad choices sometimes today, but except for his mercy, which endureth forever. So I'm sorry, y'all. I just don't. I'm not going to accept the narrative that we have accepted so far, where we're critical of each other. We don't want relationship anymore. We don't want relationship oftentimes because we don't want to take personal accountability. There, I said it. We don't want relationship oftentimes because we don't want to take personal accountability and heal from our trauma and heal from our hurts and take responsibility for the hurt that we've caused other people. Because when you are irresponsible with another person and their emotions, there is a reaping that comes as well. And the reaping that comes is not always seen. The reaping that comes is not always obvious to other people. So we come up with this narrative and we're still looking for the opportunity to take this responsibility off of ourselves. If we took responsibility for healing, if we took responsibility for our actions, we would heal and we would have so much productivity in our community. But Lord, where can you find the ones who will do that? I'm going to hold out and I'm going to believe God. I'm going to stay in the game. And yes, I'm going to date and I believe God to be remarried again. That's my desire. That's not everybody's desire. But if that is your desire, I'm going to hold out because this is where my belief and faith is. God says that with him, nothing is impossible. I've always said this kind of silently. I'll say it to you. If God has to, it's raining outside here in Birmingham. So follow my analogy. It's raining outside in Birmingham. If God has to rain down a gentleman just for Kisa, let's have it, Jesus. If he has to, let me say it again. If he has to rain down a gentleman just for Kisa, then let's do it. Because with God, nothing is impossible. Nothing. That's what he said. He said, have faith in him, not in this world system, not in AI, not in the internet. He said, have faith in him. Heal, young lady. Heal, young man. There are some love blocks that you have that are hindering you from healing, that are hindering you from love. God is not going to entrust a healed woman into you if you're still mad at your 8th grade girlfriend because she didn't want to go to prom with you, or she broke up with you. Guys, why would God give you one of his daughters today? For you to still be recounting, or you to go off when you think about it, and you're not even going off on her. You're going off because you're still angry because of this other lady, but because she said, honey, I don't want to go to that dinner tonight. Can you get me on the next shot, or can I just stay here and work on some other? But you're angry because it triggers your trauma. It triggers your trauma, and you go back to when this other lady wouldn't do, when this other girl wouldn't do. That's not her battle, my friend. That's not his battle, my friend. That's on you. That's on you to heal. I don't know why. I could almost get angry when I think about this. I can almost get angry when I think about this. I don't know why we as a community, every other community thrives. Every other community continues to grow. Every other community continues to stick together, create children. They are moved away from the narrative. They don't get into this narrative. We get on here and we just go at each other like we're the whole issue, when some of it is social programming. Some of it is social programming. It's all of this stuff is being fed into the internet against African Americans too. And you know what? You keep on doing it, a community will destroy itself after a while. All you have to do is just feed them a little bit. After a while, they'll destroy themselves because they're looking for someone to blame. If historically you have no blame to pass around, don't bring your blame to me today. There are some things that happen historically to all of us that we need to be enraged about. But if you're not going to deal with that, don't bring your trauma and your blame to me today. Don't do that. When you see some of the things that are happening in the community, and this is going to be a tough statement. I'm coming to your statement in just a little bit, KG. This is a tough statement for me to make, but I'm going to make it. I see so many gentlemen who are ready to slide in my comments when it comes to anything negative that's said about a woman. Anything negative said about a woman, they're ready for that. But about these babies being killed, these innocent children being killed, silence. About some of these laws that they're trying to revert, changing the 14th Amendment, a lawmaker goes on record saying silent. And that amendment is what provides protections for minorities, and they boldly are saying that's something we want to change. So what does that mean if they change that law that offers protections? You have nothing to say about that. But if a woman, if you want to talk about anything that a woman does, you're in my inbox. You're amening, yes, brothering, liking, loving, hearting a comment that says anything negative about a woman. No, what that says to me, without you saying anything, I'm a coach. So remember, I study people, and not only do I study people, I study behaviors. So what I see, oh, you've got trauma. Oh, you really don't like women. That's because that's why you're on here, amen, and a brother who has something negative to say about a woman, who puts a woman in her place, or who corrects a woman. That's the issue. And I know it, I know this is tight, but it's gonna be all right. I know it's tight, but it's gonna be all right. And sisters, y'all too. I get on here and I say, hey, let's edify our brothers, because guys will talk to me. They, even though I'm being straight, and even though I may be saying some things that are true, guys will talk to me. They don't, because I think they ultimately understand my heart in the matter. My heart is I love you. My heart is I'm for you. My heart is I want to hear what you have to say. My heart is I want our community to come back together. I'm gonna fight the good fight of faith. And the Bible says that's the fight that we win, by the way. Yes. Woo. I just got full with that. The Bible says that's the fight we win. So I'm going to fight. I'm going to do my part. You don't have to like me. I don't care about likes. I don't care about it. Because what God will do, God will give me the people whom I need. Let me get to these comments real quickly. TikTok, you all are fine. But if my computer goes out, y'all, I've got a whole bunch of, my battery is very low. And it may be chiming out on me in just a little while, y'all. So hold on. So I'm gonna try to go as long as I can here on Facebook, okay? But give me a little grace because my battery is low. Where am I? At 2%. Woo! So let me read some of your comments really, really quick. Oh, Kim is just saying yes. Okay. All right. Let me read a few of your comments. If I can get to it. Praise the Lord. What did you say, KG? Here we go. Baby mama is a stereotype, standard case of misogyny and misogynoir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And it definitely goes both ways, doesn't it? Kim was just saying I concur. All right, loves. I'm going to go ahead and get off the phone because my battery